Hello and welcome to another episode of the Portrait Profit Show. I'm so glad you guys are here with us this evening. And I say us because we have our special event that we do every single month on the second Monday. And that's we bring in three panelists to give us their opinions on a subject. And you can see on the bottom of your screen right now, the subject we're talking about today is speaking, talking, communication to our clients and for when we do presentations. A lot of us photographers, we get a little nervous talking in front of people. Me too. I know I may not come across that way, but this is a subject that a lot of us would like to have a little bit more information on. And so we have brought on, and when I say we, that is Amanda. So I'm going to bring Amanda on real quick. Amanda and I have brought on three speakers today to share their opinions. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Jim. I'm very excited to have our speakers speaking on speaking today.
Yeah, right.
Great.
That's good.
That's how you know when I'm nervous. I like to crack some jokes. That's how I kind of diffuse my tension. So that's my point for today.
So do you ever come across times when you're anxious or a little scared to talk to people? Does that happen to you?
Yes, absolutely. Every single time I speak or when I'm talking to a new customer, I don't really know how to approach it. I'm a body language reader. That's just how I adapt my language, if I need to crack a joke or something like that. So those are little things that I've learned over time that kind of help me become a better speaker.
Yeah. I guess each one of us, I come across people who it seems like it just flows naturally, but I wonder even, do they have anxiety and they're just good about hiding it?
Yeah.
So,
practice. That's kind of the way you get better at something and you become more comfortable with something as you adapt and overcome. So
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, before I bring them on, is there anything else you wanted to share with the group?
No, I just wanted to say hi. I'm excited to hear the speakers. Of course, I have some announcements at the end, so stay tuned so we can give you some amazing Digital Pro Lab deals, and we'll see you at the end.
All right. Well, thank you, Amanda, and thank you and your crew for all that you do to help out the San Antonio photographers and beyond.
And beyond, absolutely.
Thank you. All right. So we are certainly. It's great to have good people who are around and helpful and really love to uplift the photography community. I mean, Amanda at Digital Pro Lab, they don't have to do any of these extra things. They don't have to. Their job is to create beautiful, to print beautiful images from our beautiful work. But she and her crew go way beyond that, and we are so grateful for all that they're doing to help us out in the photography community. So let me introduce the show real quick. My name is Jim Landers, and my mission is simple. I help portrait photographers just like you make a great income doing what they love. Each week you get tips and systems on the business side of photography designed to help you gain a mastery over marketing and sales, reducing the struggles that most photographers face so you can finally get what you deserve. You're in the right place. Welcome to the Portrait Profit Show. The Portrait Profit Show is brought to you by Digital Pro Lab and Landers Photography School. I want to encourage you guys to click that like button, click that love button. Let us know that you're liking what we're here, what you're hearing from us. And also, I encourage you to comment. If you've got something you'd like to add, put it in that comment. If you've got a question that you'd like for me to ask, I might add it in. I've got enough questions to ask them for this time, but if I like yours, I might just throw it in there if I see it. But I definitely want you to do that. Now, before leaving a comment, you see down this little ticker down at the bottom, we are doing our live streams via a platform called StreamYard. And we can see you guys if and only if you grant StreamYard permission to allow us to see you. So we actually don't know how many of you are watching. We do know that we are simulcasting this to 7 different locations. So therefore, we can't keep up with all of them unless we have a product like StreamYard to help us do that. But the way that we can see you is by up at the top. You see the text that's up there, the description of what it is, and then you see the video. Click on Give StreamYard Permission. That way we can see your name. And when you comment, it won't just say Facebook user. Now, if you're trying to stay anonymous, well, then maybe you don't want to click that because then it'll just say Facebook user. But we want to know who's here. We want to see you guys. So again, we're encouraging you. Make comments, ask questions, hit that love button, hit that like button. And you know what? Share this with other people. If you think you can benefit from this, I bet there's some other people in your world who can benefit from this too. All right. So real quick, I want to turn that off. Oh, see, there's some comments already. Good. Oh, that's right. For those of you who are watching live, some people are going to be watching this effectively in our future. It'll be their present, but it'll be our future. Some people are going to be watching the replay of this. So those of you who are here watching right now, do me a favor. Click hashtag live. That way I know who's watching live. Now, if you are watching this in the future and you are watching the replay version of this, I want you to hit hashtag replay. Hashtag replay. So that's for later. For right now, hashtag live, so that we know you're watching live. So thank you, Wesley and Robin and Rick and Dave, for clicking that, for entering hashtag live, so we know you are here watching us right now. And again, I'll mention, maybe I'll say that again sometime during the rest of the show. But hashtag live tells us that you're watching live. Hashtag replay, it says you're watching it later. All right, Francis is here too. Yay, glad you're here, Francis. That's funny, Trey. Tina, yay, glad you're here. All right, so we will have some announcements after we're done here. But let me tell you real quick, Landers Photography School has a class that's scheduled for a week from today at this time, 6 to 8. And it's our Photo 101 version, and it's our field trip version of it. Photo 101, it's 6 2-hour sessions. It's not like other Photo 101s that you see all over the place that it's just an hour or two. You can't teach the basics of photography in an hour or two. But we do it in 6 2-hour sessions starting this coming Monday. And we do it at a different location where the subject fits best to what it is that we're doing. And so that way you learn it even better and even quicker. So that's Photo 101. Just go to landersphotoschool.com for information about that. So that's Landers Photo School. It's our field trip edition or version of it. Also, at the beginning of next month, May 4th, which is right around the corner, our E3 Perfect Price List and Sales System course begins. That is 9 2-hour sessions. It's it's intense. It is for the serious business minded, and it will help you create a price list where you can actually make a living in photography. Do very well in photography, a good strong business foundation. So go to landersphotoschool.com for more information, or just reach out to me, Jim at landersphotoschool.com, Jim at landersphotoschool.com for more information. All right. So again, we are thrilled and excited for this particular panel. We're excited about every panel, of course, because we're getting to hear different opinions, different people who have experience, who know what they're doing, who've done this themselves. Kind of like when we did the mentorship program a while back. One of the things we suggested is reach out to those who have experienced what it is you want to experience. Well, the 3 panelists we have today fit that description. And so I want to bring them on one at a time just to share a little bit about themselves before we start getting into the questions. So let's start off with asking Trey Holman to come on. Trey,
Hello.
how are you doing? Can you tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
Well, Amanda, I'm a lot like you. I'm terrified about speaking in front of people, so this helps me deal with it. So, um, I'm Trey Homan. My wife is Elizabeth Homan. We have Artistic Images Portraits by Elizabeth here in San Antonio, Texas. We have been married for 25 years this past November. We have had the business for 28 years. And we have three amazing young men as sons. We have Jacob, who is 22, Jackson, who is 18 and is currently down in Corpus looking to see if he wants to go to school down there. And then our youngest son, Joshua, is a football player for the Jackson Jaguars. And I just couldn't be more proud of the three of them. Artistic Images, like I said, has been in business for 28 years. We do families, we do weddings, we do business portraits, we do high school seniors, and then we also enjoy doing Christmas and Easter themed portraits. And that's kind of who we are. PPA named us as one of the top 10% studios in the nation back in 2019 as far as volume and income. So that's who we are.
Well, thank you, Trey. I've known your wife for a very long time, and I've known you for a long time, but not quite as long as Elizabeth.
Yeah.
We just to you would know this, but those who are watching may not. One of the very first family portrait that my wife and I ever did was at your studio, and so that was a few years ago. When would that have been? Robin, do you know when that would have been? I think it was 96, probably summer, maybe fall of 96. Yeah, fall of 96.
I'll go back and find your negatives for you, buddy.
Yeah. The photograph's still up on our wall. We love it. So we definitely appreciate you guys and what you do.
Sorry, there's a delay. 1996.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Robin came in and answered for me, so I appreciate that. All right, so thank you, Trey. All right, so let's bring on Sarah. And there we go. Hey, Sarah.
Hi. How are you?
How are you doing? Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, it's always a little unnerving when you come on behind somebody as accomplished as Trey. So, but that goes way back. I've been shooting probably about as long as you have, and maybe as close to as long as he has. But my journey's a little bit different. I started in the 90s after I was in nursing school and had a tragedy strike. And I went to my wedding photographer with some portraits that I wanted to get cropped. And they invited me to come shoot with them because of some of my work that I had that I wasn't even looking for that. And I apprenticed with them for like 8 years. And then I started my own business and did very well with that, with weddings for a long time. Really enjoyed that. Was divorced and remarried and married to a military man. And we ended up leaving the area, which was my home area. So I had to kind of start my business all over again. So I had to kind of relearn, how do I tackle all of this? It's a whole different ballgame when you have a network of people, but when you move to a different area and you're starting from scratch, you kind of have to figure out your market all over again. So I did that, reinvented my business, and I can talk a little bit about that if you want at some point. And then we ended up once again relocating down to San Antonio in 2016. And I did some more weddings and some women's portraiture. But my most recent accomplishment has nothing to do with directly with photography, but I just finished up my nursing degree. But now I'm done with that, and I'm ready to kind of get back in and add photography back into the mix. So.
Well, great, Sarah. And Sarah, you have been a member of the Professional Photographers of America, and
Yes.
you're a certified professional. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah.
That's
So
fantastic.
that is something I encourage everybody to do, and I didn't do it initially for a very long time. I will tell you, people like Trey, like it was kind of one of those things where I'm sure there's people that are watching that are kind of like, oh, I could never be like that. But I'm telling you that one of the greatest things for me in developing my skills and my all of this is people like you who reached out to those of us who are willing to learn. So once you get over your fear of like, kind of idolizing that person, and it's kind of funny because there's one photographer back in my home area that I just thought, oh my gosh, he's like, I fangirled. So, and now like him and I have had some very fun discussions. We're on opposite sides of some things, so we, just it's funny how things come full circle. But the photography community is amazing, and I've made so many amazing friends, and there've been so many people that have like just poured into me. And back when I was in New York, one of the things I did was decide to give back. Those that had done that to me, I wanted to do the same thing. So I did a lot of mentoring and sharing with others. So a
Thank
lot
you
like
for
what you're
doing
doing.
that.
Mhm.
Thank you for doing that. Yeah, that definitely makes a big difference in the lives of those who are starting off. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for being here today. All right. So that is Sarah. And next, I'm going to bring on John. And again, I want to remind you, I want you to click that like button and click that love button. I see only 3 of you have clicked the like button so far. You're hearing some good stuff already. We haven't even gotten to the questions yet. Show us some love. I want to see that like button clicked. I want to see that love button clicked, and give us those comments and any questions that you have. You may have something that somebody says may spur those thoughts, and so I encourage you to take advantage of that. Next, I want to bring John Signs on with me. John has been helping out photographers for a long time, and look, he does it with that beautiful smile. Tell us a little bit about you, John.
Hi, Jim. Thank you for the invitation to be here. I'm John Signs, owner of Life Signs Photography. No coincidence. My I was originally based in San Antonio for many years, and had a opportunity to be closer to family who retired in far South Texas, South Padre Island, Brownsville area. And so it's a case of happy wife, happy life. If you're taking notes, please do so. So I wound up moving, basically 5 hours south to the South Padre Island area. And like Sarah, I'm a newbie down here. Nobody knows me. And so my timing was fabulous. Decided to do that in January of 2020. And so for 2 years, basically been the unknown guy. So it's been challenging. And through working through other, I am PPA certified. I've completed that. So you're definitely have an amazing panel here. Trey and Elizabeth are both masters, which is a completely different level in itself. But it's a great skill to have. It certainly helps you to make your look at your work in a different way and how to approach things, and strongly encourage you exploring that if you feel like that's the direction you'd like to go in. But we all have our own individual journeys in photography, so don't feel like you have to in order to feel accomplished. A lot of it goes into just what do you want to do? Is it a hobby? Is it a business? And that's, I think, part of what we're going to touch on here today. I do my business side is people, places, and events. My personal passion is birds, and I think a lot of people may be familiar with that. But I work professionally. I fly quite a bit right now for a company out of the New York City area. That it's a great opportunity. I don't want to get into that too much, but just know there are opportunities for you to be a working professional in photography if you feel like that's the direction to go in. And there's nothing wrong with having other careers and other paths. Could be accounting, could be law, it could be whatever. But as we all know, photography is not cheap. The gear is not cheap at all. And so if you're wanting to do it even as a side hustle, let's do it right. Make sure you're getting a return on that investment for all your hard efforts, but more importantly, enjoy the journey. So, but I think that's probably enough well said for right now. And people
Good
like Jim there
advice.
in San Antonio, and yeah, definitely plug in and soak up a sponge. Everyone, find a teacher or a mentor you can really relate to, and take up everything that you're comfortable with, and what it is that you're interested in. Because we all have different interests, but uh, that's the important thing about photography. Do what you love.
Totally agree. Good job, John. Hey, I'm going to ask you the first question. You ready?
Ouch. Okay.
You're already in the talking mood, so why don't I just keep you there, right? So, when speaking to prospects, are you concerned with coming across as salesy? And if so, what are you doing to avoid that?
Um, I think that's a genuine concern. I think part of it is how do you how you handle that situation, because um, it really goes back into what's your focus. Is your focus? Are you doing photography for money? And if so, that's okay. But I think on a deeper level, we do photography because we love it, and we're looking for opportunities to help people see themselves in a way that they may not even be aware of. Or you're helping them with their own personal goals in terms of, hey, I just want a really nice picture of my family. This, I want something to put on the wall. Trey can relate to this. Yeah, I'll let him chime in on that. But I want to put a beautiful portrait up on the wall for when I come home after a long day and I'm tired. And I'm like, why do I work so hard? Well, I work hard because of that picture on the wall. I mean, those are the people I love, and this is the family I created, and that are with me, and I want to see them at their best. And we as photographers hopefully earn that opportunity to create that image that someone feels proud enough to print large and put it on their walls. And yes, do we get paid for that? Yes, when we price it right, and we give our best to them, because in that moment that you're photographing them, we're hoping they're bringing their best for us. And so, but to answer the question, salesy, um, I wouldn't be so much concerned about that as much as it is focusing on what are their needs, what do they want, and if it turns out that you need to make uh, profit, because again, nothing's free. This is a business, but it's also a fun business that is part of your hobby or joy. Um, accept that it's part of the flow. It's part of the process. So just be genuine, answer their questions, be candid with them. I think part of handling the money is being confident, and that comes with work, from learning from other professionals in terms of how do how do you ask for money? And sometimes we do favors for friends. I'll throw this one out there. Sometimes we do favors for friends because we loved it. I was like, hey, I need some pictures taken. And at the end, they blindside you, and I'll say that way, and they want to stick $100 in your hand. And I'm like, oh no, I didn't expect that. That's I think that's a lot of money. And I'm like, you know what? Just accept it. Because pictures have value. Images have value. And if they valued your time and your effort to be there to capture that for them, whatever it is they want to put in your hand, accept it. Even if you feel like, I guess initially it feels like, oh, that's too much. I'm not worthy of that. Just accept it, because we train or teach the consuming public, our potential customers, that images have value. And so when that mindset comes up in terms of paying for something, we want that values us as a community of photographers, that our efforts and time and equipment have value, and we need to accept the monetary side of providing that service to them.
That's right. Well, thank you for that, John. I appreciate it. Let's ask that same question to Trey. Trey, when you're speaking with your prospects or clients, are you concerned as coming across as being salesy?
Well, John nailed it. He said the exactly You are solving a solution for your customers. They are needing something that you can provide, whether it's a headshot, a family portrait, a wedding. You're solving a solution for them, and so no, we're not salesy about any of it. We're simply telling them, yes, we can solve that need that you have. Um, I, we my wife and I both work in the business. It's our sole business. What pays for our mortgage. It pays for our kids to go to college. Oh gosh, that hurts. It pays for our everything, and so we have to make money with what we're doing. We can't just have friends come in and try to make them happy. So, I mean, yes, there is a sales side that we have, but it's not salesy. It is simply we are providing something that you need, and when you have a need and you have let me restate that when you have a want and we have a need, the two come together, and that is what is going to be a successful situation.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
So that's
I
perfect.
I don't talk as much as Mark does.
That's funny. Well, that's exactly right. I totally agree, and I appreciate your saying. And that's interesting. I think for people to know that photography. You and I probably come across people all the time who are curious. Is it possible to earn a living, a real living, where you can pay for your mortgage, you can pay for the kids' college education, you can put food on the table? Is that actually possible? I mean, it's just photography, right? And you're clearly an example of someone who does that.
Jim, I'm not bragging. I'm being honest. I never envisioned I'd have the lifestyle that I have right now. Um, we travel wherever we want to travel, whenever we want to travel, multiple times a year. Um, we have a stunning home. Photography has just blessed us immensely. Um, so yes, it's there, and I'm not saying that to be boastful. I'm saying that to be hopeful to those people that struggle with, is this something that can really help me?
I'm so glad you said that. Yep. Photography is the real deal, guys. Thank you, Trey. I appreciate that. And let's bring on Sarah to answer that same question. Sarah, are you concerned about being salesy? And if so, what are you doing to avoid that or change it? Or what message are you trying to convey?
Um, I think the key to avoid coming across as salesy is being genuine. Um, and people have I think that's why I was successful with weddings for a long time when I did that, because I was genuine. I didn't, if I'm not somebody's cup of tea, that's okay. I'm not going to get my feelings hurt. But I took the time to get to know them and to find out what it is that they were looking for, to find out if we were a good fit. And not every photographer is going to be the right fit for every client, and that's okay. And if you can, as a new photographer, embrace that and understand that early on, you will avoid coming across as a little overly anxious. Start to really ask questions of your potential clients and listen. Sit back and listen. Don't take notes while they're talking to you. Listen, look them in the eyes, do all of the things that show them that you're truly interested in them and be interested in them. Don't fake it, because people can see that. So be genuine, and all of the other stuff will fall into place. I really believe that. I mean, I'll add on to, everything that the gentlemen were saying is like hands down, they're on point. But again, like my biggest philosophy has always been to pour into others and to love on others and to be genuine about that, and everything else just works.
That's great. Man, I'm glad you guys are the three speakers we chose for today. Each one of you's got some great answers, and really helping to push this thought and about speaking, and then so much more about photography as a business. So, Sarah, I have the next question for you. That question is for many. Speaking with clients can be overwhelming. It can be stressful.
Mhm.
Can you share a story, maybe at any point of your career, that caused you some anxiety, and what did you do about it?
Um, sure. I think I'll tell you one that goes back way early on. Um, this was when I was apprenticing for another studio, and I had been doing it for a while. I was, pretty solid in my skills and felt pretty confident. It was the very first wedding out of the season, and um, my allergies were flared up like they are now. So I knew I was a little more, maybe not 100% on my A game, but I was very conscientious about that because the first wedding of the season was always a little bit like anxiety inducing. Like, am I going to forget anything? I mean, I haven't shot in a few months because, again, I was up north, northern Wisconsin. Um, but I happened to have an equipment malfunction that was not anything I could have predicted or done anything about. This was back in the days of film. So it wasn't like I could look at the back of my camera and say, oh, shoot, we got to go back and redo this. Huge advantage nowadays. Um, but once the film came back and the studio that I was working for were like, what happened? So we sat down and, excuse me, once we troubleshot and figured out that it was an equipment malfunction, it was not something I did. We had to sit down with the clients. And what happened was a sync switch was positioned incorrectly and glued in place, and that caused pretty much all of their portraits um, from the wedding ceremony, from post wedding ceremony, to be underexposed, like enough to where they couldn't be recovered. So I had to go reshoot that day. Um, and the studio that I was working for, the woman who, kind of the wife of the couple that I shot for, was very. That was the most unnerving thing I ever had to do, because to go back in there and knowing that this couple was like angry with me at first and that they had to overcome that, and then I had to go stand in front of all of these people, and they probably all thought I was this horrible photographer. Um, but it was a really big lesson in understanding that, sometimes we got to do the tough things in business, because if that were my own business, I would have had to do it. I would have had to figure something out. I couldn't just run and hide from the things that sometimes maybe don't always work out the best way. And the other thing is that um, the studio owner that I was working for did a really good job of supporting me as her photographer, but she didn't. I mean, she did the right thing. She re-rented tuxes. She did everything possible to make the client happy without also throwing me under the bus, so to speak. So, like, I just admired the way that it was handled, and I took a really big lesson from that, and how to treat people, whether they're your clients, whether they're your employees, whether they're subcontractors, or whether they're other photographers that you're working with. Just always be respectful of everybody, and again, things will kind of work out.
That sounds good, Sarah. Thank you for sharing that story with us.
Hmm.
All right, so let's see. Let's ask that same question of who's the next? John. All right, John, tell us a story that you've had where, uh, and I'll bring that question back up. Uh,
Thank you.
Sure. So again, for many of us, speaking with clients can be overwhelming. It can be stressful. It can happen at different points. The one Sarah mentioned was during a session, and how she had to deal with it after the session. Some of those points come right early at the beginning when they're at the prospect stage. Some of them just after, when they've become clients. Have you experienced anything that you can share that has maybe caused some anxiety for you?
No.
Not willing to share any of those stories.
No,
They don't
I
exist.
tease. That's a complete setup. Hey, I have a white beard, and there's not many things that cause me anxiety anymore. It's just I roll with it. Or you get a dad joke, but I won't go there. Anxiety is really kind of sourced in the unknown, and so you find yourselves, I guess, when you're starting out as a photographer who's holding themselves out there as, hey, I know how to take pictures and I want to take pictures and I'm asking for those opportunities, that, anxiety can really be a dual-edged sword. I even still have a little anxiety when I'm getting ready to go do a session, even a beach session down here. It's like, okay, do I have my camera? Do I have my backup camera? Backups are important. That's a little off topic here, but it's like, am I prepared? And so that's a healthy anxiety, because I think nobody wants to show up and have a bad day or do a bad job for somebody. That I think is a genuine healthy anxiety. But I think more to this question in terms of overwhelming and stressful, you feel overwhelmed and stressful when you're not prepared. And I think one of the best ways to work through that is, I'm a big proponent of what if this happened? What if my camera locked up? What do I do? Well, I pull my backup out. Or what if my card corrupted? Do I have a bad process? It's kind of going through and looking at all those different things that we do and are responsible for as photographers, that in the event that they do happen, it's not stressful and overwhelming, because in a sense you've kind of practiced the what if this happens, what if that happens, what if somebody's asked, what if I'm in a client session and somebody calls me up, hey, I want a family beach session, there's going to be 15 of us and we all want to go play in the water and and have this thing, for you to create amazing portraits. And I'm like, I'll listen to them, but I'm like, that's not going to work out the way you think it is. And so it's really kind of, in a sense, having answers to those unknowns, and just being candid with them to say, I hear you, and in my opinion, I don't think it's going to work out. Tell me a little bit more about what you're considering or what your vision is. I guess an overwhelming anxiety or stressful situation for me in the early years, sometimes it was dealing with people and not having the unknowns, but having good mentors that you could go to and ask questions in terms of, how do you handle this situation? I mean, that's the beauty of working with experienced professionals like Trey or Sarah or Jim, is that they have been in those scenarios or those situations. So that way, when you as an aspiring hobbyist or a new professional photographer out there who's presenting, again, putting your card out there and asking for business, that if you find those situations, we're a community. You need to reach out to others that you feel comfortable with and get their opinions. They may not always have the exact answer to your situation, but they may be able to provide you some guidance or ideas. And ultimately, you're captain of your own boat. And so you need to decide, is that the right solution in my situation? And ultimately, life is learning. If it turns out great, fabulous. Now you found the answer to that problem. And if it doesn't turn out well, you can always apologize for the experience. But in the end, it's ultimately learning, and then just making the decisions, making good decisions of what's mutually beneficial for both, based upon what they're asking for, what the outcome is.
You put a lot of thought into that, especially when starting off by saying, no, I don't have anything.
I work off the cuff pretty easily.
Yeah.
But you know that. That's kind of, that, John.
I do know that. John has been active with a lot of the things that I do in Landers Photography School, but he's also been real active with the extra stuff, like the annual San Antonio Photography Tournament. And he's been a part of it since the beginning. And this is the annual San Antonio Photography Tournament's 10th year. So he's been, that means he's been helping out for a decade. His beard wasn't white then.
No, I didn't have a beard. I wasn't married either, so hey, things change.
I wasn't going to comment on
Often
on
for
that.
the better too. So don't be. If you're single, don't be scared. Take a chance.
Oh man, thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Oh man, and before I move to to Trey. I wanted to bring up some of the comments you guys are making. Like Pork said, if you don't feel a little anxiety, then do you even care? Anxiety can be okay. Happy expectation. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Uh, and Rick says, have to honestly believe that your work has value. Time and your work can be very valuable. Yep, that's right. Good mentors make a difference. And yeah, having two cameras erases 90% of anxiety. Maybe two shooters too. Okay, yep, maybe that's true, Rick. Thanks for sharing that. Ah, man. All right, so let's bring on Trey to get his thoughts on this question. So Trey, many of us photographers have difficulty talking with people. Maybe not 100% of the time, but we do. Can you share maybe a story that you have come across in your career that you can share with us? Oh, I think you're muted.
There you go. So, well, most appropriately would be this evening where you have me following John, and so that's a bit awkward. But the guy has a gift for language, and so thanks, John, for what you shared with us. Um, th- we've had multiple situations that were very similar, and one of them has. The one that strikes me the most is a young lady. We did her senior portraits, and then she went and um, uh, got engaged. She had engagement portraits done, and her fiance called us, and she was just devastated. She didn't like anything she had. She felt she looked fat. She felt like they didn't look like they were in love, and she was just very disillusioned, maybe if that's the right word, with her portrait session. And so he called us and he said, "Look, um, this is what we got, and this is the most important day in my life. This is the most important person in my life. Um, can you do something better?" And so that was an awful lot of pressure that was put on us was, do more and better. And when we got to talking to her, it was all good. We did the session. It turned out beautiful. It was not because she was overweight. I mean, sure, if you're from San Antonio, you have a tendency to maybe have a little bit more of a fuller figure, but that wasn't it. It was just the posing was wrong, the lighting was wrong, the positioning of the subjects was wrong, and that's what made the session turn out bad. And so the fact that we know how to photograph a couple, we know how to photograph an individual, we know how to photograph a family and make them look the best that they can, that really kind of alleviates a lot of the anxiety that are associated with um, a difficult or a anxiety involved with the session.
Man, yep. No matter what, we are definitely going to come across some situations that are going to be difficult. And that certainly is one of those, because I'm generalizing, but I believe that all photographers really care about our clients. I mean, we love them almost as much as we love our own family. We really want to do good things for them. We want them to be pleased. We feel good. We feel complete when they are thrilled. And tell me if you agree with this. I think the best compliment is not the thanks, these are beautiful. It's the tears of joy that they cry when they see those photographs, and they're proud and they're pleased. They can't wait to have this displayed up on their wall. I think that is the ultimate in I don't know, payment. It's the ultimate feedback for us. How do you feel about that?
It goes even more because
Yeah.
when they come back, when they have their first kid and their
Mm,
second kid, and then they come back for an extended family portrait session, um, it's it, that that shows you how much they trust you. It shows you how much they love what you do, and it just gives so much validity to what we do as a profession.
man.
And that's the same person I'm talking about. She is just they don't even live in Texas anymore. They drive 12 12 hours to come back for a portrait session, and they do it every other year. And so
Wow.
the the you create that trust, you create that love, and it just it keeps coming back.
Love that. Well, thank you for sharing that story and the additional, the bonus information. And so I'm gonna ask the next question of you, Trey. Let's see. How do you share your prices? So this is early on in the process. When do you share that? How do you share it? How do you present them? Tell us a little bit about that conversation.
Well, we have invested thousands of dollars in printed priceless material. Um, I, we have hired designers. We've designed it ourselves. We have come up with some fabulous looking products, and ultimately, that doesn't matter whatsoever. Um, Currently, we simply send everybody a PDF of what our prices are. Uh, it's uh, it just they consistently people said, "Well, yeah, I got your envelope, but I never opened it," and so that just for us kind of became a okay, why go through the expense? And so we do the price list with the PDF, and we're able to um, uh, modify that as needed and frequently. There are things that have to be changed, and we do that all the time. We don't call it a price list. We refer to it as an investment, and I'm sure that uh, Sarah and John are going to say the same thing. That it's not about how much something costs; it's the investment for your family and for your artwork and for your home. And and I say an awful lot, don't I? Uh, uh, that's where we go with it. I mean, it's all up front. It's all in front of everyone from the consultation um, and the phone call because we don't want pricing to be a surprise. We feel like we need to be open and honest about it because if somebody comes in and they're expecting to pay $20 for an 8 by 10 and you're charging $140 or $180, then all of a sudden you're going to have people upset with you, and that is not the type of situation you want to have. So I think I probably didn't answer that as well as you wanted,
No,
but I
that's
mean,
good.
don't
No,
don't or $400 for an 8 by 10. It's
no, that's perfect because um, I think we all are going to experiment with how we share our prices, whether that's in print or whether that's over the phone, given a ballpark, or there's probably a lot of different places at which we have an opportunity to do such a thing. One of my philosophies, tell me what you think about this, is everyone's going to ask how much, especially if it's the very first time they've ever done business with you, how much is. And there are some things that are just one price, but most things have lots of different variables and lots of different options. I mean, when it comes to printing, there's different print materials. When it comes to framing, there's different choices. So there's a lot of variables, and so giving someone a price when they first ask the question, "How much?" to me is impossible. It depends on your business model. Some people could answer that question. If it's just a mini session where everybody pays the same amount, okay, then you could. But for regular full sessions, I have a range, and I really don't want to give someone a range until I know a little something about what they are looking for. It'd be to me like going into HEB, and it's the first time you've ever been to HEB, and you go up to the first person, or let me say grocery store. I know some of you aren't watching from other areas, so you go to a grocery store. It's the first time I've ever been in a grocery store, and I have to ask the only question I know how to ask, and that's how much is a bag of groceries? Well, that's a really odd question in a grocery store, but it's the same for us photographers. We don't know what you want in your bag yet. And so I feel like I've got to earn the right to answer the question by finding out a little bit about them. How do you feel about that?
I you're a smart man. Absolutely. I mean, there is not just a one answer um, solution to it, and you do have to get to know them. And so we uh, we try not to we try not to say 8x10 is X amount of dollars, because that doesn't really work. What we need to do is find out what they want that 8x10 for. And is it really that they want an 8x10, or they just don't know what to ask? And so, as a
Yeah,
common, as a just a
yeah,
common thing is, well, an 8x10 is A, B, or C. So how much is your 8x10? So that's, they don't know what to ask. And so our job is to educate them as to the the service we provide, not necessarily the products, but the service. And then once we can get that service um, to them, I mean, we sell wall art, we don't really sell 8x10s. 8x10s are appropriate for some things, but what we do is we sell things that people are going to put on their wall, and sometimes they are 8x10s, but um, it's in a grouping, or it's in a wall art type of situation, so that it's not. We can't answer that question without sitting down and talking to them.
it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Trey. All right, so that same question of how do you I've got to find that one again. How do you share your prices is going to Sarah. Sarah, how do you share your prices? What words are you using? How do you present them? At what point do you share?
Um, so again, I went from weddings to portraits, and so I had two kind of schools of thought there, and there are kind of two schools of thought when I came up with like, how do I do this? Some photographers at the time were like, don't share your prices because you're just going to steer people away if you're too expensive. Others were like, put it all out there. Um, I kind of ended up doing a kind of a mix, I guess. I would put a price range on my website. I don't want to waste, I don't want to say waste, but I don't want to eliminate potential clients, but I didn't want to at the time. We were booking over 100 weddings a year. So I didn't want to spend time with someone if I truly wasn't in their budget either. So there was kind of a balance there. When it came to portraits, when I switched over to doing that, it was a little different. Um, if somebody would ask me, I had a price list ready to go, just like y'all were talking about. Um, and I would give it to them and share it with them openly because I don't think that being kind of overly discreet or whatever is the way to go either, because it seems kind of like, oh, they're definitely too expensive then. I can't afford that. And you should never assume ever that about any potential client. So I definitely use words like investment, but I go back to what I said earlier, which is find out what it is they're looking for, connect with them emotionally, find out not just what are they looking for, like, do they want an 8x10? Do they want a book? Do they want this? But where's the emotional connection to this session? What is it that they want from this session? Are they celebrating an occasion, and find out some of the stories behind their family. That was one of the best things about all of my time in photography, and the things that I love the most about it is being able to really connect and bond with people and find out about them, and find out how I can better show them the beauty in their own life and how to kind of bring that out. And I think when you do that, the price thing kind of becomes secondary. I don't know if I answered that.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And I appreciate the way you said you care about who they are and you care about what direction they're heading and what they're proud of, and so you get to know them, and you find more about what the goal is, what the end result is, and then you share how much it's going to cost to reach that end result. So good. Thank you for sharing that, Sarah. All right, so that same question is now going to John. So, John, can you tell us uh, about how you share your prices? What words are you using?
I can. I like using the Dr. Evil approach to answering the pricing. It's $1 million. No, seriously. I love humor. Um, when someone asks a question about what's your prices, um, like the others have said, it's what's most familiar with. They're focused on the commodity or the tangible at the end, and without really understanding what's the process. And then it in a broader context, it goes back to kind of setting their expectations. I'm a little different in the sense that I don't know what what your final bill is going to be, because like Trey and Sarah have said, it just really depends upon what products you choose, and what investment you're going to make into your what you've created together and what you have captured and photographed, and ultimately also what are their goals. Um, I, I I like coming from the standpoint of managing expectations. What are you expecting to invest for this? And they'll often give you a number. It's like, oh, I'm expecting to pay X amount of dollars, and it's you know it might be a little shocking because it's all like, oh, I'm not going to do it for that. But then also understand that they don't understand what your process is and what's involved in creating that. And so I approach it from the idea that my session fees begin at this amount. If you want me to take my camera out of my bag and spend time with me to create the images that we have discussed, and that you envision, and this is what you want to use them for, whether it's I want to create huge wall art, which I think is really most photographers' goal who are doing this as a business, because you want to see your stuff printed big and appreciated and loved. But sometimes it is an 8x10 and they need a headshot. It could be an actor who is giving out comp cards, and that's their currency. And so managing from what your minimums are for your time and your talent and what it is that they're asking for you to create is a great place to start for whatever it is. I'm not even going to put my own personal minimums out there, because they're my minimums. And again, as a a serious hobbyist or a professional photographer who's holding themselves out that way for asking for business, you too need to decide what are your minimums for your time, your talent, and your ability before you ever say, okay, if that works for you as a minimum, let's discuss what it is that you want further, and then I'll be able to give you a better idea of what type of costs you're looking at. You can also come at it from the standpoint of what do most of your ideal clients, your customers, invest with you? Well, most of my customers invest $1,500 at the total end of this. This would include the session fee and then all the different types of art or the quantities of art that they have purchased. Maybe they're purchasing 5, 10, 15 images from you, and they're printed in different sizes. And but in the end, they have invested a total amount of $1,500 to $2,000, or maybe it's more, maybe it's less. I don't know. But it's always a conversation, and more importantly, it's managing those expectations. And if they're all like, "Oh, I just want you to push a button and take some pictures, and I'll give you $75," and I'm like, "I'm not your guy. Have a nice day," and that's okay. That's okay.
Yep, that's right.
I still like the Dr. Evil approach.
Yeah. I like how you got close to the camera.
$1 million.
Yes. So it's probably a good idea you don't have a real detailed camera there. We'd be counting the pores. So,
Really? Are they showing?
all right. So the next question is going to you, John. And let's
So I'm,
see.
I'm the U-turn. Is that what this
You
is?
are
I'm doing the U-turn.
exactly that. How did you know? And so I'm looking
Bring
at
it.
the time,
Bring it.
noticing we don't have a huge amount left. So
Okay.
I'm gonna pick one. Let's see. Let's skip to if you're going to make a presentation. So when you're asked to speak, what goes through your head? What's your initial process? And what questions are you asking that person who has just asked you to speak?
Well, like this, I'm like, I can talk on a variety of different things, but I want to make sure I'm on point to what the goal of the presentation is, and can I do it in a way that's engaging and entertaining? Maybe, but also still provide helpful content, whether it be through stories or examples or ideas that an audience would find interesting to hear and listen to. And so ultimately, that's what makes you an engaging and interesting speaker is thinking of your audience. Who's watching this? What types of questions do you think they would have? And are you answering them in your presentation? Are you maybe giving them a perspective that they hadn't considered and making it surprising and engaging, and also asking interaction. Maybe you have an interactive part, and you're comfortable with fielding questions off the cuff. And if somebody asks you a question and it goes off topic, just say, okay, I like the question. It's a little off topic, and so get with me afterwards, and we can talk about it one-on-one. But I want to respect my audience and stay on topic to what we agreed to speak on. And so I think it's important to just knowing how to handle those situations when you are in a presentation and staying focused to what's asked of you.
Okay, very good. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
All right, so let's ask that same question of Trey. Trey, when you're asked to speak, what's going through your head? What are you thinking about, and what are you asking that person who's asked you to speak?
Well, I really don't like that question. I want to go back. I want to go to question number 5. Question number 5 is, what is the most important part of the client sales process, and how do you convey that to your clients? And I want to talk about that because for us, it's the consultation. We get our customers in to the studio. We have them sit down. We show them our products. We walk them around. They see what we have on the walls. We show them our albums. And that is the most important part of our sales process because we are planting those seeds, and they are looking at what we provide as far as products. And so we don't just do things on speculation. We go out there and create a session, and we know we have a playbook, and we know they want an album. We know they want wall art. We know they want multiple gallery wraps to display on their wall. And so that is the most important part of our sales process. It's not actually sitting in the sales room and looking at what's on the table. For us, it is putting those options out there before we even have the portrait session. So now, if you want me to skip down to the speaking part, I can do that.
That's fine. I'm actually glad you brought that up. I didn't want to skip that one, but looking at the time, I was thinking I got to do something.
I agree.
So yeah, so thank you for answering that question, I appreciate it because that is important.
I mean, we have had some amazing sales. I mean, like the price of a new car sales consistently over the past several years. And it's all because we had that discussion before the portrait session took place.
So I'm glad you shared that. All right, so let's ask that same question of Sarah. So, Sarah,
Yes.
what do you feel is the most important part of the client sales process?
Having a complete understanding and clarity of expectations. So, and I did again, transition from weddings to more portraits, and I did the same thing either way. When I did weddings, I would read over my contract with the clients, and I would say this to them. This is kind of one of my lines. I would say, look, I'm not reading this because I think you're incapable. Obviously, you're incredibly smart. I don't need to read this to you, but I read this because I want to make sure that we can clarify anything that there might be questions about, in this contract. So it gave me the opportunity to talk about every step of the process. With weddings, super important, super important. Um, with portraits, you have a little more time and a little more, you can go back and do it again. Not that that's the ideal, but gosh, a wedding day is a one and done most of the time. But so that was really important to me, to have clarity of expectations and to make sure that my contracts with them were well spelled out. And I didn't present it in such a way that it was like, even though it was protecting me as a photographer and as a business owner and such, I presented it in such a way that it was to their benefit as a client. And inevitably, I would get to the end of it and I would say, do you have any questions? No, you really covered that very thoroughly. Thank you. I don't think I have any questions. So that was my goal at the end of each of those parts of it. And I think that's really important, to make sure that expectations are set up properly, and then you have a less likely chance of having a fail of expectations on either party.
So, good communication, huh?
Absolutely.
Good. All right. Well, Sarah, I've got the next question for you.
Okay.
And that question, you can see, they, by the way, they have a list of all the questions that
Okay.
that I've been asking them. And so they know what's coming up, but I know you guys who are watching don't know. But I'm going to skip to one, Sarah. Uh, Regarding speaking with people, what's one piece of advice, or maybe a quote that you have that you live by or you agree with, that you could share with us?
So we probably all know a lot of people have a fear of public speaking. It's actually been stated that it's the number one fear, and people have a greater fear of public speaking than they do of death, which is crazy, or it seems crazy, anyways. But to me, the quote that I like is that people have a fear of public speaking, but their voice could change the world. So don't speak just to speak and to hear yourself speak, but be cognizant about what you're saying. But you don't know whose life you might be impacting when you have something to say. Whether that's sharing your expertise as a photographer, whether that's sharing something about your client, sharing how they look and sharing, a compliment. Some of my clients had never heard "you're beautiful" before. That's powerful stuff. I know we're dealing with a mostly male panel, sorry guys, but for women, that is incredibly powerful stuff. Um, so those things, words can just have such huge impact. So your voice can change the world. So don't be afraid of speaking. Just listen, hear, absorb, and then speak from the heart.
That's a good one, Sarah. And I'm amazed when I hear a story like that, where someone is, I don't know, they're just, to me, that's not normal to not hear things like that. But you do come across that, and when you happen to be the person who is elevating them, to lifting up their spirits, man, that just feels good. And I think all of us creatives feel that way. We love the emotions and the positive emotions and the what they experience when they're working with us. We want them to have the best possible experience. Do you think all photographers or most photographers would agree with things like that?
I hope so. I mean, I think that, I did a lot of self-reflecting when I transitioned from weddings to portraits.
Yeah.
And it was like, what am I passionate about? Am I passionate about clicking that shutter? Is that what I'm really passionate about? Taking pictures? No, it's not that. It has nothing to do with that technical aspect. I mean, that's cool and it's fun, and it's been really cool to see the transition of film, medium format to digital and all of the things that have taken place with technology. But what drives me and what I'm passionate about has been about making a difference in others' lives. And so I kind of came up with my tagline of helping others, finding beauty, living forward. Um, and I know you're probably running short on time, but I do want to share, just kind of tagging off of that if I can. Just this was a quote
Sure.
from a client, and this sums up everything about how impactful photography can be. This was, oh, forgive me if I get emotional. I'll try not to. But it was a client who had come in and did like sort of a boudoir type session. It wasn't very, but it was for her very glamorous. She said, as I washed off the makeup and took off the eyelashes, I told myself, well, here I go back to the old look. It was fun looking this good while it lasted. Then I thought, why the hell am I thinking this to myself? Why am I telling myself this? I have always had a self-image problem, but after today, I don't think that will pose a problem anymore. Today showed me that I am beautiful, and even though I had makeup on, that wasn't why I was beautiful. It was bringing out the beauty within me. I don't know who or when, at what point I thought of myself as unattractive, but starting today, I am changing that because I am awesome. I am the only one of my kind, and that is pretty special. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And I've
I'm
seen
really
this
glad she
girl
shared that with you.
I have seen this girl go from very shy, very kind of withdrawn and such
Yeah.
to she now has double masters in social work. She's an amazing woman. So, anyways,
Man,
that's why we do what we do.
that's
And that's the kind of
exactly why
impact
we
we
do
can
what we
have.
do.
Hmm.
Thank you for sharing that, Sarah. That's fantastic. All right, so the same question is now going to, let's see, let's go to Trey.
Wow, that was
Right?
awesome. That was awesome, right? Um, but for us, it's a little tagline that we've been using is do not try to become a person of success, but try to become a person of value. And that is what we do at the studio every single day. Elizabeth has more awards than probably most anybody in Texas. Uh, she does. She's gifted beyond belief. But that doesn't matter. What matters is what the joy that we give our customers when they come into the studio, and um, that's it. Be a person of value. Bring joy. Bring importance. Uplift your customer, and that's. I mean, that's just a God-given talent that we have, and we feel like we should do it each and every day.
Yeah, that's a good one, Trey. And if you guys, for those of you who don't know Elizabeth, Trey's not bragging it's slightly. She has won more awards. She's got more attention. She's probably been asked to speak more than everyone who you can think of combined, and because she has that talent, because she has that love, because she truly loves who she's working with. This isn't, I come across people, and maybe you come across these people all the time too. When I talk to them about starting a photography business, when they ask questions about it, one of the things they almost always share is, well, I'm not trying to I don't want to get rich. I don't think any of us have that intention. I think all of us genuinely love our clients and love what it is that we're doing and love that emotion that our art causes in them. It's not about the money. I don't think it is for any of us.
Nope. We bring value to people's lives, and that's why we get up every morning and go to work.
Love it. Thank you, Trey. All right, so the same goes to John. John, can you share a little bit about maybe a piece of advice or a quote, something you'd like to share?
Absolutely. Both Sarah and Trey spoke very well about it, and it goes back to what I'm trying to be mindful of is in the words that I choose and how I communicate with them is how do you make people feel? How do you make people feel with the words that you choose to describe how you see them? Because again, as photographers, we see the world very differently than most people. We see light in situations and lines differently than most. And words are powerful. For me, words are currency in the sense that if I choose my words correctly and I come from a genuine place and I'm speaking from the heart and they can feel that once they leave my mouth, in a sense, that it hits them, and it hits them in a very genuine way. Like, wow, you're amazing. You're beautiful. And those may be words that they've never heard from anyone before. And we, as photographers, have the privilege of delivering that sentiment, that feeling. And then here's the fun part. We get to show them that. And it's how, when they hear that and they see it and they suddenly realize of how you've captured them, we're not budget photographers. We don't want to be budget photographers. Truthfully, if you're going to make a career out of this, whether it's a side hustle or a business, you just can't operate, on the Walmart level. That's not what we do. That's not what we deliver. And it's really not the idea. Some people say, oh, well, you're just manipulating them, right? Well, okay, if you're viewing it that way, and if you feel like I'm coming from a self-serving place, then yeah, that would be a comment you would say. But again, if you understand and we're connected and you see the value in what it is, my opinion, value in our opinions of that, suddenly your currency goes way up in terms of, wow, not only have you said really nice things and beautiful things about me as your client, as their client, but now you've shown it to me, and now I view myself differently. And like Sarah said, in her client that she became very emotional about, that client sees their life very differently going forward. And that's an incredible responsibility, but power that we have as photographers. And so my challenge to each of you is, do you want to carry that torch? Is that something that you want to do? And again, it's working with people is probably one of the greatest opportunities and responsibilities we have as photographers. But if you're not comfortable with that, then inspire somebody with a beautiful landscape, or show them a part of the world that inspires them, that they can draw value from. I love photographing birds just because I like the subject, but I don't mean to deviate or dilute anything that Trey or Sarah have said with respect to being in business, because business, it's what we get in terms of value for our work and our time and our art is a necessity. But more importantly, how are you making people feel, and how are you helping them see themselves going forward after they've had this experience with you? And I mean, that's just the joy of being a photographer. And I hope that you found value in this time with each of our amazing photographers here, including Jim, as your host. And again, I thank each of you for the opportunity to be a part of this amazing panel.
Yeah, thank you, John. That's all of you have had such wonderful, uplifting, emotional responses because that's real. That's how we feel. I'm going to bring each one of us back on for some closing thoughts, and Amanda as well. And let's see.
Yeah,
So,
we forgot about Amanda. Amanda's amazing as well as a photographer and bringing our stuff that we captured to life. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for bringing me on. I feel special now.
well, you guys are so we're so appreciative that you guys are on and you're willing to give of yourself and your time. We know you have other things going on in your life. There's not a single one of us that isn't sacrificing something to be here and help out others. And you guys continuing to do that, to uplift other photographers, I find inspiring, and I appreciate you guys for all that you're doing. And of course, tonight, Amanda, did you want to say something to them as well?
Well, of course, I want to say thank you to all three of you, and of course to Jim, but all three of you for sharing your insights on something that I know I personally, as a mentor to a lot of our photographers here in San Antonio, they asked all those same questions that you've answered. You know, I don't want to sound salesy. What do I need to say? How do I present my products? You know, do I give them PDFs? Do I do this? Do I do that? There's so many questions that they have, so many different answers that different people are giving them. And really, at the end of the day, what they need are mentors, and they need to immerse themselves in our photographic community to really get the insight that they need to determine what's going to be right for them, right? And Portrait Profits is just one avenue that Digital Pro Lab and Landers Photography School provide to help give them the insight that they really are craving. So again, I want to thank y'all for your time tonight and for the insight that you're providing. So hopefully, if they weren't able to join us today, they're going to be able to go back to several of our feeds where we post them on Facebook and on YouTube as well, to be able to go back and either re-listen or listen for the first time and hopefully gain the insight that they're looking for. So thank you again.
Did you guys have any closing thoughts for those who are watching?
I'll just say, summarization. Sorry, long day. The summary of what everything that I've said is just be genuine. Remember that no matter what you do in all of your interactions with your clients, be genuine, because people can see when you're not, and it makes a huge difference. And I think if you're making that connection with people, everything else will fall in place. It really will. And take advantage of some of the incredible talent, like where I was in Northern New York and in Wisconsin. Not that we didn't have some really great, talented people, but wow, you have a plethora of resources here. So for all of the people who are just getting into it or who are relatively new, take advantage of this. And thank you, Jim, for what you're doing, and Amanda for what you're doing, and John and Trey for offering your expertise and everything. So
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. Good luck with your nursing degree and career there. Hopefully you'll be able to balance the both of, caring for people, not only when they're sick and in the hospital and taking care of that, but, you need to get out of that environment. And photography can be a great outlet. It doesn't matter where your career takes you or what you're doing. Photography is a great opportunity for you to get a different view of the world and kind of feed your soul. I think as photographers, we're driven that way. I know I was for many years in the financial world, and I finally said, I got to go back to my creative life, and I missed it. And so thank you for the opportunity to be here to each of you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, John. Oops. I'm okay. Appreciate visiting with you guys tonight. I'm excited just to share a platform with you. Everyone, Jim, you can hit my mute if I'm wrong, but the Professional Photographers of San Antonio. We're going to be meeting on the 20th of this month, and we're going to be talking about how to find that perfect client. And it's going to be with Brian Welsh, and so I'm the executive director, and all of you are welcome to come and join us at any time. You didn't hit mute, so thank you.
No, I'm glad you said it, because each time either Amanda or I mentions what's coming up with PPSA. So you did it for us, so thank you.
And so, Amanda, thank you. We so much appreciate what you do for San Antonio. I just don't think you can get enough pats on the back, because it's known. We love what you do. We love who you are. So thank you, and Digital Pro Labs for what you do.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys once again for being here. I'm gonna take you guys off the screen, and Amanda and I are going to be talking about things that are coming up for opportunities for photographers in the coming weeks and months. So thanks once again for being here.
Thank you. It was a pleasure spending the time with everyone.
Thank you.
Wow. Once again, another great group of panelists. Man, the San Antonio photographers love helping out other photographers, don't they?
They really do, and I think it's great. I think I hope that other cities have the resources and the environment that we have here, but if they don't, then I'm excited that we have it here for ourselves.
That's right. So did you have something you wanted to share with us?
Of course. So as always, at the end of the show, Digital Pro Lab likes to present an exclusive discount only for the viewers of Portrait Profits. It's kind of a reward for taking the time to enrich your own knowledge. So what we like to do is provide you that code here now. So let me go ahead and pop that up. All right. So this week we're going to do 40% off 24x36 gallery wrap canvas prints. That code for that, which can be entered in any of our online ordering systems, or if you want to come into the store at 10103 San Pedro here in San Antonio, you can do that as well, and then enter the code on our kiosks up front as well. Is going to be gallery 40. So of course that stands for 40% off that 24x36 gallery wrap canvas. It's not limited to one. You can order several if you want. And that's going to start tomorrow. So, take some time today and tomorrow and cull through some images that you might want to have printed that large. Take some time to make sure that the image is going to work for that crop, that 24x36 as well. Those gallery wrap canvases are going to wrap around the edge. You're going to roll the image over the edge, which is what makes the gallery wrap canvas such a popular and unique product. So definitely, select the right image for that. And that's going to expire on Sunday, which somebody told me was Easter. I completely forgot. I'm like, where's the time going, right? That's coming up. It's going to end on the 17th, which is this Sunday. So take your time, look for the right images. You've got a little bit of time, but don't wait too long, because all of a sudden you're going to blink and that's going to be gone. The other thing that I did want to mention, because not everybody is aware of this. Those of you that are customers already are, because I try and do my best to educate on this, but we do offer two different print workflows. So one is going to be our full service ordering system, or our ordering print workflow. And then the other is our monitor match print workflow. And most of our photographers, we work very diligently to make sure that you're actually ordering through our monitor match workflow. One, because that's going to give you the deepest discounts. So discounts in the sense that, yes, I just gave you 40% off gallery wrap canvases, but I did tell you that that's through any of our ordering systems. And we do have a monitor match ordering system, which has the most competitive rates that the majority of our professional photographers are on. And when you couple the discounts that are already in that particular system with discounts like the 40% off, you're getting even deeper discounts to be able to give yourself a better profit margin. So if you're not familiar with what monitor match is, I encourage you to go right over to digitalprolab.com and just click on ordering. When you click on ordering, you're going to see the different systems that we have, and it'll go over what monitor match entails. We do require a lab sign up. so that we can make sure that you qualify for that particular type of account. Monitor Match does, again, come with some education. So we want to make sure that your monitor is calibrated, because we guarantee that it's going to, anything that you print through there is going to match a properly calibrated monitor. And that's why we're able to give you the discounts that we are through that particular workflow, is because you're taking care of all of your own color management, and we're not having to do anything other than print it to our professional standards so that everything matches. So when you get it, it should match exactly what your monitor is showing. So again, if you have any questions about that, you can go to the website at digitalprolab.com, or feel free to email me at amanda@digitalprolab.com, and I'll be happy to walk you through anything you might need to know about what that entails. So hopefully you'll do that. You'll take advantage of that, because when you couple all those discounts, it's great.
Monitor Match and the gallery wrap canvas, 40% off? That's not a typo, is it?
Not at all.
That's huge. Thank you so much for doing that for us.
Absolutely.
40% and 24 by 36. That was probably one of the most popular sizes for my clients. Usually somewhere between a 2 foot and a 5 foot. Print was pretty, well, 4 feet. I didn't have very many 5. And I always, by the way, the vocabulary you use, in my opinion, is very important. I don't speak, when I'm talking to my clients, in terms of inches. Once it gets to a wall portrait size, I speak in terms of feet. And so I will say a 2 foot or a 3 foot or a 4 foot wide print. And that's just one of those differentiators that causes people to realize this person's serious. They know what they're doing, and it doesn't surprise them when you share that final figure. Well, it might, but they're going to say things like, "Whew, but you're worth every penny." So here's the card. Go ahead and do what you have to do. But man, with 40% off, you guys, please take advantage of that. Their regular prices, guys, are really good. But to get 40% off, man, thank you so much for doing that for us.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. All right. And I've got a couple of things that I wanted to share. The first is the lunch with Landers. I'd take a photographer with me to lunch every single Tuesday. And I pay. I'm taking you to lunch every single Tuesday, and I'm going to put in the comments the link on how to take advantage of that. So post that, put that in the chat, and that is the link. Just click that link. That's my schedule. My very specific Lunch with Landers schedule. It only has Tuesdays available on it, and only Tuesdays that are still available are still there. So take the one that you want. Then I'll take you to lunch. All you have to do is meet me at the Dominion Country Club, because that's where we're going. So that is Lunch with Landers. I also do something else that I don't charge anything for, and that is a business assessment consultation. I'll give you a free 30-minute session to talk about your business, what you're trying to accomplish, what you want to do. It could be about your price list, about getting prices set up so that you actually have the ability to reach your goals in life. Prices aren't based on what other photographers charge. If you're looking what everyone else is doing, that might be a curiosity. But they have different goals and dreams. They're different than yours. Therefore, their prices must be different. I thought in the beginning the way to do pricing and a lot of things in business was to just look at what everybody else is doing and put myself in the mix. Well, that's a good way to be part of the crowd. I've learned since that it's better to stand out from it. Try it. Reach out to me for that business assessment consultation. Let me get that address for you as well. I didn't have that queued up, so let me grab that. And I'm going to put that in the chat. That way, all you have to do is click on it, and you'll see a link to my schedule. Take advantage of that when you get a chance. And the Photo Essay Camera Club has been meeting the second Thursday of every single month since 2006. We've never missed a meeting. There's 1,800 members, but there's not that many who are active. There's around 100 who are active. I don't know why there's such a difference in that, but that's what it is. And usually at the meetings, there's somewhere between a dozen and 3 dozen, maybe as many as 45. I think the most we've ever had at one meeting was 52, but still, it's not a huge percentage of the people that show up. But we, because of COVID, have been meeting via Zoom for the last 2 years until this month. This coming Thursday, it's the second Thursday of the month, we're going to meet back at the place we've always met at since 2008 anyway. And before that, we met at Landers Photography School. We meet at the Dominion Country Club. We start at about 6:30, but the first 15 minutes are just social. And so you can, if this is big enough, you can see that we start at 6:40 approximately and go until about 8 o'clock. There is a small charge for it. It's only $10, and that's to help offset our costs. By the way, if money is an issue and you don't have it, show up anyway. I gotcha. This is not about money. This is about putting people together who love photography. This time, we're going to be bringing in someone who's going to be talking about NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Now, if you don't know what that means, don't worry about it, because what it means is another way, effectively, to do stock photography. Not the same, but kind of in that direction. This is a young guy who's full of life, full of energy, has done this. He's actually added it. He's a financial planner, and he's added things like this and other crypto things to his financial planning for his clients. And he's going to show something that is very specific to creators. Lots of different types of creators. Obviously, for us, it's the photography side. But he's going to be bringing a presentation to us called The Photographer's Guide to NFTs. Again, that's this Thursday, April 14th, from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. And this is what I expect the room to look like. That's probably from about 2 years, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And that's the room that we'll be in. And that's about what it'll be looking like. Now, next thing I want to bring up, and there's only 2 more. This one, the Photo 101, begins a week from today. This is a different version than a lot of times we've done before. This one is what we call the field trip version, where every single class meets at every single time we meet. It's 6 2-hour sessions. So it's 6 consecutive Mondays, beginning this coming Monday, 6 o'clock in the evening. We're going to meet at a different place each time, like the Dominion Country Club or the Elan Hotel or the Bass Pro Shops, because they have those 5 wonderful waterfalls to the left side of their parking lot. Fantastic opportunity for those of you who want to learn a little bit about the foundation of photography. By the way, all of you could at least use a little refresher. One of the rules I have at Landers Photography School is if you want to teach one of my classes, if you're a teacher, if you're a photographer who wants to teach, I do have 7 photographers who teach with me. If you want to teach, you have to either write the class yourself or you have to take it before you can teach it. It's one of my rules. I've got other rules too, but that's one of them. A master photographer, and I'm not going to say who, thought, well, I could teach the Photo 101 class, no problem. Well, after the first of 6 sessions, this master photographer came up to me and said, Jim, I can't believe how much I didn't know about the basics. I'm not qualified to teach this class. Now, he did teach a lot of other classes for me and did very well, but he did more advanced things, lighting and Photo 102 and further up. But that basics class, I do teach it in a different way, and it's because I was classically trained. I've got a degree in photography, but I don't feel like they taught it in the best way possible. And so I change it. I do it differently. And I've got other stories about that too, but I'll leave it at that. That is coming up again 1 week from today. And let me put that link up real quick. Do I have that real quick? Yeah. I thought I did. No, it doesn't show the link. Well, go to landersphotoschool.com, click on classes, and it's the second one that's there, Photo 101. All right. Now, this next one I'm going to be sharing with you is E3. This is the perfect price list and sales system. If you intend to make a good, solid living in photography, this is the course you need. This one's not easy. This one's serious. It's fun because I'd like to have fun and I like to be silly, but it's a serious class. There's a lot of homework. But the result of this class is you will have the most strong foundation that you can possibly imagine for a photography business. We will help you create the optimal price list that helps you reach your goals, having nothing to do with what other photographers charge. But a lot of times those prices are way higher than you're used to. So we also talk about the words you use, scripts. We talk about the words that you're supposed to use. Now, we don't recommend that you read anything, but a guide. I actually call it guide instead of a script. We include all that and so much more in the entire sales system, so that you have a playbook to run the base of your business by, the behind the scenes parts of your business. So I want you to also go to Landers Photo School and click on down on the left side where it says business classes. And it's one of the first ones there. That's the E3 price list and sales system. You'll be glad you did. Yeah. Now, one last thing is to tell you what is coming up, the upcoming shows for the Portrait Profit Show. The next one that we have coming up 1 week from today, and again, it's back to our regularly scheduled time, and that's noon on Mondays. It's always noon on Mondays, except for the second Monday, where we move it to 6:30 like you're experiencing right now. But every other time it's at noon. So put on your calendar right now that we're going to be talking about discovering your niche and how important that is. Because if you spread out everything you have the ability to press the shutter button in front of, you're going to run yourself into a lot of problems. For one, if you're trying to market for all those, you're spending a lot of time. And if you're investing any money into advertising, do you really have the budget? I mean, most of us don't have the budget to really do a good job of advertising one of the many things we have the ability to press the shutter button in front of. But when you focus in on just one, and you get known for that one, you start standing out from the crowd. That's one of many ways that you can stand out from the crowd. But we're going to talk about how to discover your niche. That's next Monday, and Portrait Profits is free. So put that on your calendar. Tell your friends about it if you care about them. If you don't say anything to them. Keep it to yourself. But if you care about them, share this with them. So I'm going to bring Amanda back on. Amanda, did you have any last minute thoughts before we close out this episode?
I think there's a lot happening here in San Antonio with what you got going on, and of course everything that we have going on at Digital Pro Lab. So I'm, as always, very glad to have Portrait Profits as an avenue for people to tap into our photography community, right? So thank you so much again, Jim, as always, for your time, your effort, for pulling the panelists together for tonight, and for the upcoming Portrait Profits that we have coming up.
Awesome. Thanks, Amanda. All right. So I'm so glad you guys are here. I hope you got something out of this that you're going to be able to take with you and move forward with. Something that's inspirational and fun. I heard a bunch of good things, and I bet you did too. For Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, this is Jim Landers bringing you the weekly Portrait Profit Show, giving you evolving content awareness and even fun to the business side of photography. Through helpful information, step-by-step processes, and action steps that will help you with the struggles you deal with now, so that you are constantly realigned to the path that leads to the success you deserve. Be here every Monday to experience a different way of looking at the business side of photography. Thank you for investing your time here at the Portrait Profit Show. Bye-bye for now.